Steve Jobs is widely credited for the amazing achievements he accomplished at Apple, and properly so. However, few people credit Steve Wozniak with actually creating the computers that made Apple a viable firm in the first place. And that's thanks in large part to his choice to resign from his role as Apple's CEO in 1985.
Okay, I'm going to start the video with a disclaimer.
Wozniak was technically never fired from Apple. Since then, he has remained an employee. He continues to get a weekly salary of $50. In practice, however, his presence and decision-making authority over the corporation were relinquished in 1985. And considering his early influence on their products, this was a major issue. He was the man behind the Apple I, the world's first computer with simple plug-and-play connectivity to keyboards and television sets. Steve Jobs came up with the idea of trying to earn money on a computer, not Wozniak. The profits from the Apple I were used to fund the development of the Apple II. Wozniak also designed and engineered this device. The Apple II's 8 expansion slots, powered by only 2 chips, were one of the computer's greatest technical triumphs. Instead of the regular 40 chips, you'll get 50. As a result, the computer was able to be smaller, less expensive, and more capable than its competitors. Jobs, on the other hand, was not fond of the idea. "Make this computer with 2 slots," he told Wozniak. "All you need is a modem and a printer." Woz was taken aback. He was well aware that computer hobbyists such as himself desired as much flexibility as possible. So, limiting the Apple II's capabilities on purpose made no sense to him. Woz said that if the Apple II didn't come with 8 slots, he'd walk away and leave his computer behind. Jobs eventually gave up, and the Apple II became one of the most popular computers of all time. Apple's annual revenue increased from $775,000 to $118 million. However, the debate over the Apple II was a classic example of the two Steves opposing ideas. Wozniak advocated for technology to be as open as possible, whereas Jobs advocated for it to be as closed as possible. But don't take my word for it, here's Wozniak himself describing it. "That's one of Steve's great pushes, to keep things locked and self-defined, and not really extendable on the outside so much," he explained. "We began our company with an Apple II, and everything was completely open. We made our schematics, designs, and other materials available for anybody to look at, alter, and improve. So I'm a total believer in open source thinking. And I believe that is why Wozniak eventually quit his role as Apple's CEO. I don't think it's a coincidence that Wozniak got more dissatisfied with Apple's direction as the company's products became more locked up. For example, when the Apple III was being developed, Jobs set arbitrary constraints on the product that Wozniak objected to. Jobs insisted on no fans or air vents on the computer, which necessitated the use of an aluminium foundation to dissipate heat. However, fabricating the aluminium required time, and the design had to be finalized before the motherboard could be built. After the design was submitted, it was discovered that the motherboard was not large to accommodate all of the required components. This necessitated a workaround that had not been demonstrated to be reliable. However, due to time restrictions, the product had to be dispatched despite its poor quality. With dissatisfaction, Wozniak returned his gaze to the computer. "Manufacturing and development were done in far too short a time frame," he said. The Apple III's chassis had long been set in stone, thus they needed a specific size logic board to accommodate the circuitry on. Apple changed the circuit boards. The issue was that there were additional issues at this stage, such as chips that didn't fit. There were a slew of issues that you would ordinarily address during pre-production and the pilot run. Customers were essentially sent on a trial run. Wozniak was proven correct in the end. Overheating, dislodged chips, melted disks, short circuits, and component failures were all common problems with the Apple III. Indeed, one of Apple's official techniques for reseating dislodged chips was to raise the front of their laptops 6 inches off the surface and drop them. It was a humiliating blunder for Apple, and it seriously harmed their brand image. However, Wozniak believed that they would be able to rebound with their next major computer, the Macintosh. He was actually in charge of the product's design and development until 1981, when he was involved in a fatal plane crash that left him with significant facial and brain injuries as well as temporary amnesia. Wozniak was forced to leave Apple for 2 years as a result of the accident. In 1983, I returned to assist with product development. However, Jobs had already taken over the Macintosh project and added some of his own touches at that point. A fanless cooling system and a totally enclosed design are 2 examples. Customers actually need a special screwdriver to open the polycarbonate case, something that Wozniak couldn't understand. The original Macintosh failed under Jobs, and it wasn't until he left that it became a success, he remarked. That appears to be the case based on the sales figures. The Macintosh never generated enough income to keep Apple afloat while Jobs was alive. The Apple II still accounted for 85% of Apple's sales over a year after its release, in 1985. Despite this, Jobs refused to mention or include the Apple II team at events and meetings on a regular basis. Something that, understandably, irritated Wozniak. As a result, he left Apple permanently in early 1985. He said that the company had been heading down the wrong path for the previous 5 years, that he missed the excitement of the early days, and that Apple had become his scourge. Engineering was his passion, not management. Apple, he concluded, was keeping him from becoming the person he desired. Following his departure, Wozniak founded CL9, a business that invented the first programmable universal remote control. He also realized a lifetime ambition of becoming a teacher by instructing a computer class for pupils in grades 5 through 9. It was a far cry from Steve Jobs' route, but no less significant.